Welcome to The Terrible Take, a mini podcast telling Steelers Nation what's on our mind. I'm Dave Bryan. Pittsburgh Steelers now have quite a few players signed to contracts that include voidable years past the 2021 season, thanks to business the team has conducted so far this offseason. That list of players includes quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, and tight end Eric Ebron as of right now. If tackle Alejandro Villanueva is ultimately re-signed, he's likely to have voidable years past 2021 as part of his deal as well. While we wait and see if that ultimately happens, I have received quite a few questions concerning the players now on contracts that include voidable years, and those questions have gone in several different directions. For starters, most seem to want to know what the void dates are for Roethlisberger, Smith-Schuster, and Ebron, and what kind of impact the actual voiding of the deal or deals will have on the Steelers. For starters, I have been told by a few different sources that the voidable years on all three of those players actually void 5 days after the Super Bowl. I will certainly let you all know if I learn different. Keep in mind, however, the void date is when those voidable years past 2021 actually void, not the 2021 year, as that year doesn't officially end until the start of the 2022 NFL League year in March. If the contract or contracts of those three players are not amended or altered prior to their respective void dates, the Steelers will have a sizable amount of dead money for each in 2022. Once again, the two sides have the ability to negotiate the rest of the years as well as the void date before the void date actually arrives. And if the Steelers really want to keep any of those players, and that player wants to stay with the Steelers, you can bet some sort of an agreement, even if it's just pushing back the date to buy more negotiating time, will ultimately happen. A few years ago, we saw the New Orleans Saints work out a new deal with quarterback Drew Brees prior to a voidable date he had in place that would have triggered some dead money. However, Brees' void date that year was the start of the new league year in March and not 5 days after the Super Bowl. So, what happens if these voidable years void prior to the start of the new agreement happening? For starters, while the voidable years would void, the player still would not become an unrestricted free agent until the start of the 2022 league year in March. Because of that, the franchise or transition tag could be used on one of those players as long as it isn't prevented in the language of the contract itself. Basically, the Steelers could choose to franchise tag Roethlisberger or Smith-Schuster or Ebron as long as their contracts say they can't be. Obviously, the chances of Roethlisberger, Smith-Schuster, and Ebron all returning in 2022 are very, very slim. So, what happens if one or all three aren't re-signed and thus allowed to test unrestricted free agency? If that happens, and if one or all were to sign elsewhere as unrestricted free agents, they would count as compensatory free agents as long as there are no other things such as contract amount or over-the-limit issues that would prevent them from doing so otherwise. Knowing that fact should clear up yet another popular question I've received concerning the contracts of Roethlisberger, Smith-Schuster, and Ebron all voiding not long after the 2021 season ends. Be sure to follow us at SteelersDepot.com and check out episodes of The Terrible Take every weekday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out The Terrible Podcast with myself and Alex Kozora every Tuesday and Friday.